And I came from a very liberal background. So even when I was single in my 30s, my mum used to go, why don't you just go to one of those sperm things? And I'm like, no, Mum. She goes, you don't need a man. I'm going, no, Mum. That's how liberal my mother was. And then I recall in my 30s, I had a dream. And I think I might have shared this with you. I can't remember. And I always used to have just one desire, and that was to have a daughter of my own. And one night I had this dream, and it was just so vivid that I remember it even to this day. So that's almost like 30 years later, right? So we won't go into the age thing, but I remember it so vividly. I was shown a face of a young child, a girl. And I woke up that next morning with it so clear in my mind's eye. And I thought, is that going to be my daughter? And I'm thinking, how's that going to happen? You know, and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, when I met my husband and we decided to go on this adoption journey, and we got matched so quickly, we didn't expect it at all. We were told it takes 18 months to be matched and all that. I thought, I've got plenty of time, you know, let me just get on with my corporate world. I've got plenty of time, it'll be fine. And within like a month or so, we got matched, and I was like, right, okay. And we had to be there by the weekend. And it's like, okay, India by the weekend, help, sort everything out. And got there, and the lady was quite stern, as they are. Anyway, she brought Amisha in, and I took one look at her, and that was the face I saw in my dreams.
Oh.
And I was like, that's her. I didn't say anything to my husband. And then she sort of gave me Amisha, and I held her. And there was this instant connection. It was almost like we'd always been together. And I kind of, because I believe in past lives and all of that, I know we've been connected before. And even Amisha tells me now that she's much older, she knows we were connected before. And so I knew for sure this was going to be my child, and no one was going to rock my boat. So from literally day one, I would every so often read stories about her life in India and having a birth mum, although she was given up at birth. But that whole process, you know, and that she's a very special child, and she's been, you know, brought to a very special place where she's going to be taken care of and everything. And so by the age of 4, she was very, very clear that she was adopted, and that she didn't come out of mummy's tummy, but came in a very special way to me, because mummy couldn't have children in her tummy type of thing. I think the thing that really started to make that difference for her is when she came to school, when she started schooling. As soon as you aim to say, yeah, I totally understand, you know, that kind of attitude, it just heightens their emotions so much. How can you even begin to understand? It's not you, it's me. How do you know? And it's a very dangerous territory to be on. Can I go that way or that way? So you have to come from a place of just being compassionate and supporting them. And even if it means that they turn around, Amisha's never actually said this, but I've heard stories from other parents where the child actually turns around and says, I don't love you. I don't, you know, I'm beginning to the point where sometimes they turn around and say, I hate you.
I said it.
And that does happen in birth children, obviously, as well. Yeah. And it can be so painful for any parent to hear that, when you know you're giving completely unconditionally. I think you just have to let them ride those emotions through as best as possible, and be there to receive them at the other end when they've expressed and let go.
Yeah.
However that may be.
When you're talking there about this age of starting secondary school, and for me, that's when the wanting to find out about my birth mum, find out what she looked like, it really got quite intense for me. I would say things like that. It's your fault for adopting me. You know, if you hadn't have adopted me, then maybe I'd still be with my mum. I hate you, and all of this, you know, all these hormones and anger was coming out. There was this desperate wanting to find her and to know what she looked like.
Yeah.
It's but there was like an open door in a way. I knew that my mum had to give me up and couldn't cope. There's a little bit I knew. And so I can only imagine what it must be like for children where they, you know, perhaps there's no news at all. And, you know, I don't know. I can't.
I think from our point of view, we've had to keep it very open. So manage the expectation, because for a child, you can imagine for many, they will just want to know their birth parents and know that they're like this and like that, and they'll embrace them and, you know, take them back in as a family member and all of that. And we know as adults who've gone through life experiences, it's never going to necessarily be that easy, because for her, it was, and will probably always be until she actually either meets them or finds out more about them. There's that missing jigsaw puzzle piece missing in her overall life. And for us, it was like, well, how do we support her? Because we're aiming to give as much as we can, not just materialistically, because I don't believe that answers the question for her. It's about love, giving her complete unconditional support and love. And like we said right at the beginning, sometimes it just doesn't feel like it's enough. And I can totally understand for some people, some families, it will be perfect. Their child will, you know, their adopted child will embrace that and move forward and have no questions to ask about their birth parents. For others, it's a big, big hurdle. And we just had to be there for her and listen and support her in whichever way it needs to be. And, you know, social services were very good as well, because it's obviously an age which comes up for them with a lot of adopted children. And they were very supportive as well. And plus our adoption support group we have reached out to, well, I reached out to a number of parents that had children of similar age, but I already knew because they'd approached me. So we kind of support one another. And it was all about also the children connecting at that age group, within that age, that boundary, like the teenage ages, so that they can share and support one another, because no one knows their story more than children that have come from the same place, same beginning of life. They will be the only ones that will really ever be able to understand what it's like for them. There are times it's going to be really challenging, really hard, and you do doubt yourself in the process, that what could I have done differently? How could I do more? Is it not enough? All of those sort of questions, because there will be times when it could be challenging. For others, it may not be. It may be absolutely, it's plain sailing. And I wish them all the very best, because that's an amazing place to be. But for those that find it challenging and you begin to doubt your own ability as a parent, all I would say is just stay with it and keep supporting the child, because they haven't gone through their life lessons yet to come from a place of maturity to actually appreciate what you're doing as an adopted parent. You know, if you come from that place of compassion and unconditional love, it will be recognized later on in life. Whether you want the recognition or not, this is not talking about wanting recognition. It's about knowing you did your absolute best and you gave that 101%. So you never have an element of doubt later on in life that I could have done it differently.